Okay, Rugg says, does adding geo and EXIF data added to images still matter for GMB? Yes, it does. What I like to do is watermark images, logo overlay, and then watermark it with, kind of like transparent text. It helps not only that, but you can use the same images over and over because every time you watermark them and do a text overlay as well, and when I say watermark, guys, I mean, you can put like NAP on them with text that's got real transparency turned way up so that it's almost invisible. But Google will read that. And I still do, first of all, the best images to use are real images that are taken from phones with GPS enabled location information and everything that's imprinted in the metadata of the images themselves. But it's very difficult to get that. I only have a handful of clients that actually do that and do it consistently. So for the most part, I still have to generate our own images. I've talked about this before, but I like to do YouTube videos where we just go into like tree service stuff and select high definition videos and take screenshots of, a guy up in a tree cutting a tree down or whatever. And then we shrink those down to about a 600 by 400 dimensions and we geotag them. I've been using Mass Optimizer Pro. There's another one called the EXIF.net that works pretty good. That's kind of like an online version of it. And then I always watermark stuff. And I started doing that, I don't know, 6 months ago. And what I like about that is I can take the same like 100 photos that we pulled from YouTube videos. And I just had a VA do that for me and use them over and over and over again, because each time we we geotag them and then we watermark them with the logo overlay, NAP and everything for each specific location, they become unique. So for me, it's a great way to do it. Now, I know Google strips that data out when you upload it, but it reads it on upload. So I think it's important to still put that. It just takes a moment to especially if you're using a tool like Mass Optimizer Pro or something where you can geotag a bunch of photos all at once. It just makes it very efficient to do so. And it's just one extra step that can be done quickly, but I think helps just a little bit. So what do you think, Brock?
I think you nailed it right on the head there, Bradley. Like I would have answered just about the same, word for word almost, right? The only thing I added, something that I am testing with right now is, everybody, as SEOs usually have the thought process of adding your own geotags or your EXIF data yourself, right? But if you think about Google and the data that they keep and they record and the records that they keep, it's kind of trying to get Google to add that data for you, if that makes sense, without giving it away. I was surprised. I have an Android phone, right? And I took some pictures recently because I was going to a wedding. So I had to like the shirt had to match like the color palette, right? And I was at like some department store. So I took a picture of a shirt and sent it to my wife that was like on the other side of the store, right? And then Google, like later on, I got home, I got a notification that Google knew exactly I was at that store. And I took that specific picture inside of that store, right? And wanted me to upload it to their GMB.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought that was fascinating. I haven't seen it before. I don't know if anybody else has, but trying to get that data from like the other side, as well would be interesting. But yeah, I haven't been able to replicate it yet.
Yeah, well, like I said, I work in the tree service industry, and so I've got contractors, and some of them will do it. One of my contractors does it consistently, and it's great because he's just crushing it. But I tell them every time you're out on a tree job, just snap a couple of photos, man, and upload them through the GMB app directly to the photo section. That's all it has to be done because all that data is uploaded. And I know because I've taken videos on my Android when I was like driving down the road. It was one of those like dash cam, like where I'm talking while I'm driving, type things. And sure enough, I went and looked at the metadata in the file because it was in Google Photos, right? Because it's Android, so it was automatically there. And I looked at the little I button or whatever to look at the metadata, dude, right. And it showed the velocity that I was traveling while that video was being recorded. I mean, it's insane.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. And I know what you're saying. If you take photos and you're anywhere near like a business that has a GMB, Google will send you an email like, hey, why don't you upload your photo to this location,
right, to that GMB? Yeah, because they know you're there, right? The thing is like trying to manipulate that, is kind of the key.
Yeah, right.
So they've gotten really smart. Like, I don't know if you've ever like played around with like playing around with your geo coordinates on your phone or whatever. But like if you start getting too crazy, like Google will give you a message and say like your GPS coordinates or is like not very accurate or like it's like low quality or something, right? So it says like it suggests you to take pictures around you to find out exactly like where you're at. So I think that's really interesting too. So
Yeah.
like images, like I think it's like something not a lot of people talk about. But I think it's going to be a huge play on like the artificial intelligence and AI. Like I think it's here now. I think it is, but especially like going on like in the future when it becomes more and more relevant.
I agree. I agree, especially because they're, image recognition and all that kind of stuff is just getting way
Mhm.
better. They're reading text in the images and it's
Yeah,
crazy. So
it's fascinating. If you ever drop an image into Google Cloud, which I'm sure you have, like all this stuff it picks out, it's amazing, really.
yeah, scary.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit.